sometimes need pinch hitters. So Dana Cavalea, Coach Cavalea, as you guys know, is a member of the Talent Champions Council and is a great friend of everybody in the TCC. And I know that he had a question. Unfortunately, he had a last minute obligation that took him away from the call. So Kathy Leckie is going to pinch hit for him.
Oh, perfect.
Because she's got Dana's question. So Kathy, you're up for Mr. Cavalea.
All right. He asked, he said he'd like to know some of the emotional stressors or stressors in general that you have to deal with and what you use to overcome them on your journey on a day-to-day basis.
Well, obviously, the game I play, there are circumstances that demand an immediate strategy that needs to be implemented. And the higher you go on the food chain, sometimes the more difficult the complexity because of the benefit to risk consequences. And I do know that if you can't answer things quickly and accurately, well, then there's no reason for you to be there first and foremost. So the kind of formula that I use and I use with my clients, and this is really important, so please listen up on this. I feel that when you're faced with something of significance, of significance is the best way to say that. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, what do I think about this? I wouldn't go to the experts right off. I think that, what do I think about this? We need to give ourselves a chance to answer that question within the privacy of our own conversation between our head and our heart and our soul and every ounce of our experience, because I do believe that people do have a lot greater capacity to answer their own questions if they take a moment to pause and contemplate it. I feel that that's the first place to start. Then the second question is, like, who am I? Give you an example. So one of my clients who owns a financial business, he had a $200 million client that he'd been looking to have a conversation with, that now called him to be an advisor to him about some things. And he started to lock up. He'd been waiting to talk with this person for several years, and he started to lock up. And I said, well, ask yourself, what do you think about this? And so he thought about what the request was, and he realized when he thought about it, rather than believe the mythology of being startled and what am I going to say, he looked at what he thought about it, and he realized, you know what? I know exactly how to solve this person's problem. Even though this guy maybe is here in notoriety, I'm here in terms of notoriety, but I'm here in terms of providing him with what he needs to know, because he asked the question. Then the second one, who am I? He said, well, he's lucky to be in my presence because I have the answer to his solution. I have the solution to his question. And so all of a sudden, the confidence was there based upon the reality of what it was. Otherwise, he could talk himself out of it. I'm not ready for this. I just need another week. No, you don't. You should be able to step up and do it now if you have that evidence. And then the question is, what are you going to do and when are you going to do it? So again, I think those 4 questions, if we give ourselves a chance to ask those questions, will inform us of our state of readiness. And if we need counsel to fill in the gaps, well, then we can go to counsel at that time. But let's take a look at what we think about it first, because eventually we all have to stand on our own 2 feet at some point. And this is a way of putting us at a point of neutrality, to not let our fear talk us into things that discredit who we really are. And that's the way that I handle these situations. And I always stay in my lane. For example, if I hear a mechanic to a race car driver giving the race car driver advice on nutrition, then he's automatically ruined his credibility and his mechanical ability because he's gotten out of his lane. So I think it's really important that we stay in our lane and we're really clear about what that is. And then you become fearless about the recommendations if you know it's within your lane.